Okay, so it's been about 2 months, and since then, it's gotten hotter. We can go outside now. The YouTube drama has been off the charts, though some of the names that are in the drama sphere aren't really new to it in any way. They're just additions to what happened last time around. But this story in particular definitely shakes up quite a few things, as this creator has had a very large impact over quite some time, and these effects have indeed been felt far and wide. Now, I know I'm late to the party, however, I just wanted to wait till all of the facts and any additional info was all said and done, so I wouldn't be overwhelmed with the new stuff coming out every other day or so for the past couple of weeks. It's amazing to me that in most cases when people's pasts are exposed, usually it's petty shit that they did at a young age and have hopefully learned from, but this? A blast from the past is what blew the ever-living hope and longevity out of this career in an instant. Built on tall tales and one of the creepiest experiences to ever live through, I guess the name fits when you really think about it. Besides this, there are plenty of other people that I definitely want to look at, as their recent YouTube melodrama has upped the ante, some of which have given a bit of an M. Night Shyamalan twist, but first in the grinder, I want to talk about Shannon, otherwise known as Creepshow Art.
Wait, this me's pretty cute. I wonder what it looks like with all the makeup off.
Creepshow Art, or Shannon as she's also known, created her channel in 2016 and became an art commentary YouTuber that made videos talking about whatever she wanted with her art, and sometimes art from other artists, in the background of her videos in the latter years of her career. In the beginning, she mainly made storytime videos, which she told little stories of what happened in her life, what it was like, including being homeless and living out of her car with her partner at the time. Wait, I could have sworn there were some more story times than this. Okay, aside from her storytime vids, both here and Thanos Snapped, she commented on other YouTubers who she felt were doing wrong and should be held accountable for their actions. In Shannon's case, she's called out some of the worst people who have ever been on this platform, like Daddy of Five, Onision, this one whose name rhymes with Billie Jean, and countless others. But in doing that, she started to have this weird aura of, I'm not like who I'm bringing awareness to, so I'm not as bad of a person, you guys, mixed with, hey, I'm not like other girls, cause they're probably better than my insert self-deprecating joke here. Right, guys?
Shut up, you ugly!
Over the years, she's made friends with creators like Ready to Glare and Smoky Glow. Every time I'd see her comments on one of their videos, my ass is like,
what is this, a crossover episode?
She also gained a little over 500,000 subs, which is no easy task and something I would commend her for, if it wasn't for the fact that over those years, she proceeded to keep up this false online persona while being a vile person in the background. Oh, how the tables have turned. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. At this point, she has lost over 100,000 subs and counting as of writing the script. Usually, creators don't lose a large amount of subs unless they've been caught in 4K with their mask off, either doing things behind the scenes that go against the public persona they so carefully crafted, or participating in things that go against the law and morality. But that's besides the point. It's really hard to pinpoint what she really was, since it seemed like she morphed her attitude or personality based on what she wanted to accomplish or get out of a person. And like most people, we only saw what she allowed us to see, meaning we couldn't see what she was hiding, even if it was in plain sight. But enough about her history. Let's get into the drama she ended up getting involved in.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh yeah!
So, here and there, Shannon has been in a few spats with other YouTubers, from the Rewired Soul situation, which feels like eons ago. God, I feel old. If you don't remember what that was about, the Rewired Soul, or Chris Butte, sorry, was a YouTuber that pretended to be a mental health advocate, but was basically an unlicensed armchair psychologist slash therapist that diagnosed people over the internet with mental illnesses based on speculation. It didn't really make it any better that he also suffered from mental illness and was a recovering addict. So his lack of empathy towards the people that he ended up covering on his channel just didn't seem right. Creepshow was just one of the many people that called out his unethical, inconsiderate, and insensitive behavior. Other players in this game were Primink, who was our main protagonist, and Repzilla, which at the time was the secondary antagonist. I was thoroughly sucked into this drama as I was a viewer of The Rewired Soul at one point, and felt that the few videos that I actually enjoyed from him were well done and seemed meaningful. Boy, was I fooled. Of course, it didn't stay that way as he ruined his own career with his less than stellar reactions to the criticism and his pretty garbage attitude during the whole thing. Between Shannon and Chris, they had a little spat in DMs with each other, and they haven't really been on good terms, although Shannon made a video a year later defending him for getting community guideline strikes on his channel for impersonating himself and telling people to stop spreading information about the pandemic. Yeah, that's a whole lot of stupid at the end there, but nonetheless, this ended pretty amicably. She was then called out by Toby in her now deleted and re-uploaded video on Shannon, The Faults of Creepshow Art, which was broken down pretty well by a new channel I've encountered, Patrick Talks Too Much. Go check his channel out, by the way. Which, despite the subject matter in hindsight, he does a great job showing how hypocritical the video is. Essentially, Toby was saying to Shannon that she's not doing enough research for her videos, she gets more emotional than logical, and that she has a hard time taking constructive criticism. While those points and many others were made from those who felt like Shannon could do better, trying to help her understand the problem, of course, she ended up taking some of the criticism to heart, but honestly, it didn't really last long as many of the complaints Toby and others originally made fell on deaf ears later on as she returned to the highly emotional rants instead of the informational videos people were asking for. I mean, I personally don't think it's a bad thing for people to want better from you. If they see that potential in you, it'd probably be in your best interest to honor that criticism and get better. Not just because they asked, but because it'll help you in the long run to make better content and not be willing to compromise your integrity for views. Too bad that didn't last long. After that, she was involved with this little interesting squabble with another YouTuber named Without a Crystal Ball, also known as Katie Joy. Okay, make sure to keep this roach of a drama because we're gonna relate this later. So this creator has been in countless dramas, and I do not mean that lightly. It would take eons to go over what all she's been in, but I can say that if any of you have heard about the drama going on with Tati Westbrooks a couple years ago, then you've heard of this creator before. This being her most notable drama, as she was in a now settled out of court battle with Tati over defamation, I believe, don't quote me, something Katie is somewhat known for. Shannon made 4 videos on her. They had a back and forth, and well, I won't spoil anything that's currently happening, but remember, we'll relight this later. And most recently, the Peaches drama, in which with these recent allegations, and I use the term very loosely, I'm talking looser than, never mind, because, you know, my mind is already made up on this situation, but on my soul, I'm not finna get sued. These allegations kind of give that Peaches situation a whole different perspective on it, at least to me, but I'll save my thoughts on this whole thing later. I will not be giving a summary of this controversy for a few reasons. I've talked about it over a handful of videos. It's ended fairly recently, so I'm sure you've already watched it all play out, and I just don't want to revisit it because it's exhausting, considering it ended up blowing into something it shouldn't have for multiple reasons. I'm sorry if you wanted a recap of that, but I can speak for those who share my sentiments when I say, I'ma get the fuck up out of here. This shit, I'm out. I'm just gonna leave you all with this. While Shannon has definitely been an absolute dumpster fire to a lot of people, including Peaches, it does not absolve Peaches from her own misdeeds. 2 people can be wrong at the same time. Not much really exists in black and white. Everything else is gray as fuck. Some things are just grayer than others. Moving on, let's get into what has basically started this whole thing.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
As I'm sure you've heard, she has severely damaged her character since she was outed by the lolcow mods for breaking some of the rules on their site. And before we talk about what she has allegedly been saying, let's first go over a few things. So first off, what is lolcow? Well, lolcow is an online forum somewhat in the same league as 4chan and Kiwi Farms, where people come together and anonymously talk about whatever they want, whoever they want, and feel as though they can release their inhibitions, feel the rain on their skin, and, well, they just have the freedom to be as shitty of a human they wish to be, as anonymity makes people want to be shitty. Who knew? Second off, how does lolcow work? Well, I won't go over all the rules, however you can pause here to read them all yourself. I just want to go over the ones that apply to the situation. In the global rules, there's Rule 8, do not attempt to use lolcow farm for attention or profit. Rule 9, do not deceptively post about yourself in the third person for any reason. And finally, Rule 10, do not advertise. In the general rule board, there's Rule 2, you may revoke your own anonymity only if your identity is essential to the information you're providing. Staff will revoke your anonymity if you attempt to deceive lolcow farm. And finally, Rule 3, do not dox any subjects. Thirdly, let's go over the initial lolcow forum post from a mod that was the catalyst for all of this. Now, I read off those rules specifically for the reason that Shannon proceeded to break these rules, which in turn made the mods hold their end of the bargain, which was to expose every single vile thing she has ever said anonymously. Not sure how she attempted to deceive lolcow, but, she clearly ticked off the wrong one on a bad day, and now she's being punished for her actions. Before I mention her bad-mouthing her friends, I just want to acknowledge the fact that this developed embryo felt the need to make multiple accounts to argue with herself, about herself, brag about her finances, and basically just being a complete, judgmental, disrespectful, and disgusting person who really showed her true colors. But, who's surprised? This is what anonymity gives you. Unlimited power. Nah, it's really, I'm just kidding. Using language offensive to the LGBTQ plus community and other minorities because you feel as though no one will ever find out really shows who you truly are, and it's just sickening. I'm just gonna go over some of the posts that were of her shit talking her friends, and I use that term also very, very loosely because clearly she didn't respect these relationships as much as she pretended to. And before you guys say, I talk shit about my friends behind their back all the time, it's no big deal. Cool. Glad to know that you feel like, comfortable disrespecting people you may care about you behind their back. You may not think it's that big of a deal, but with what's happened recently in the community, or even having been done wrong by a friend in the past, you'd understand. It's not funny, nor does it feel good to have someone you once trusted to talk about you behind your back. You'd never expect that from a person that you let into your life, your inner sanctuary, your oasis. It causes you to not trust people again, on the extreme side of course, but especially over the internet. We all know we barely trust people over social media to begin with, so this doesn't make it any better. But it's just a joke, right? This is only the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more shitty things she's done, one of them being the doxing of her own sibling. And I don't even know what the beef was between the two, or even if the sibling knew about it. Let's get to packing, shall we? So now we move on to talking about her sibling. Now, I tried to go into her backlog of videos to find out if she's mentioned anything about her sibling, and I couldn't find anything. Not sure if a video was ever made on them and deleted, or if she never made one at all, but I don't really recall her mentioning many family issues of that nature. Maybe my memory is failing me, but this caught me by surprise and definitely irked my soul. Okay, so 2 things right off the bat. 1, Shannon did make a story time on her sibling, but she did delete it because it probably exposed what a shitty person Shannon was if you actually paid attention to what was said. Also, I guess that's where some of her 2.9 million views went. Don't quote me, it's just an assumption, even though we all know it's not an assumption at this point, but whatever. And I'm not new to toxic families, so I could understand what dealing with that feels like. However, it seems like you are the toxic family member, Shannon, and while thank God I'm not related to you for multiple reasons, I sure do feel sorry for the ones that are. What has your sibling done for you to do them this way? This one post seemed to sum up what happened. So, while trying to find some sort of backstory to Shannon and her siblings' relationship, I did my best to put together any bits and pieces I could find to figure out where all of this started. I couldn't really find anything concrete, but basically Shannon is, and still does I would assume, just projects her bad actions, thoughts, and anything about her onto her sibling to make them seem like the villain and make her look like a victim. For me, the fact that I was bamboozled for so long to think that this grown zygote was a good person when they're one of the worst people to ever come across really irks every speck of stardust in my universe. But of course, it doesn't end here, and it can only get worse.
Oh, now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. You have fucked up now. Now you fucked up. 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 Now you have fucked up.
Before I go over what happened with Emily, I just want to put out this message to her. I'm sorry for the hopelessness you felt because the justice system is absolute garbage. I'm sorry that you had to deal with the shitstorm that was Shannon for so long. No one deserved what you went through, and I wish I could give you a bunch of hugs and miracles to try to make up for what happened to you. I'm also a fan of you. I very much enjoyed watching you draw while talking about events that happened in your life. You definitely were very relatable to me as you went through many hardships, and while I can't completely put myself in your shoes with everything you went through, I can definitely empathize with the pain and grief you felt while in those situations. You are such a beautiful person, and while yes, no one is perfect, you should at least always try to be the best version of yourself you can be, and you are a prime example of that sentiment. Thank you for being here and sticking it out even through the swamps you got stuck in. Thank you for using your voice to bring attention to what you were dealing with all those years with your ex and Shannon. Also, thank you for adding a little more light into the world with this little adorable angel you were gifted.
What are you doing, everyone?
What are you doing, everyone?
Everyone?
Say excuse me.
Excuse me.
Okay, let's get into this mess. Emily Artful is an art YouTuber that made story times and a few occasional commentaries on other artists on YouTube. She's been on the platform for about 6 years, but didn't start uploading until 2015, a year after she made her channel. But even through all that, she's been dealing with so much behind the scenes for years. I'm not gonna go into detail about her hardships that don't involve Shannon because I don't feel like that's my place to say, and I also really want you to watch her video if you haven't already. I'm gonna list off a few things Shannon has done, even if it wasn't direct. Hold Emily's inappropriate underage photos against her and use them to make her lose her job, causing her to be homeless. Stalk and harass her for 10 plus years, aka too fucking long. Willingly get involved with someone that, as an ex-partner, has hurt, abused, and taken advantage of Emily too many times. Used Emily's past addiction against her as if she has any right to judge, and harassing her about her family. This is just a small list of what Emily had to deal with regarding Shannon, and again, no one deserved to go through what Emily did. But I hope that now she's been able to get this off her chest, she'll be able to move on and fully heal and of course be at peace, which it seems like she has, as stated in her video, and how she wants everyone to handle this situation given this note she put on Twitter. I'm going to express my very based opinion on all of this very shortly, I promise you. I'm trying to hold back my words until the end, although I may have let a few insults slip here and there. We're almost done, I promise.
Where you heading? I was just going for a walk, so I guess I'll see you later.
Walk, huh? Beautiful day. Think I'll join you. Actually, my feet hurt. I think I'll go play in the backyard. A little backyard playtime? Count me in. I'd better go take a bath. Robots don't take baths, do they?
So now we get to the part where we try to show that Shannon allegedly did all this. I've never hated a word more than I hate allegedly right now, but I very much would like to keep my cannabis cash to myself. So we have to say that these are all accusations/allegations for legal and financial reasons. Here are all of the things that make me personally believe that Shannon is Amy. Firstly, this hasn't been the first time someone has been outed on Lolcow, and it being correct. Emzotic, who is a pet tuber, was exposed on Lolcow for essentially posting about herself in the third person, while also trying to give herself free publicity, attacking people's appearances, and have the nerve to try to change her IP address to not get caught, which sounds oddly familiar. Clearly that didn't work out because her excuse was that it was a social experiment. As if anyone was gonna believe that. So, of course, take that into consideration. If Lolcow was going to expose someone, there wasn't going to be much of an excuse that could be used to save them. Emily herself has also traced the IPs at one point to several places that were related to Shannon and her boyfriend, spouse, partner. Spoofing someone's IP address to try to pretend to be them on an anonymous forum for a few years doesn't make sense, as it takes a lot of computer finesse to even try to spoof an IP address, and to constantly keep that up takes a lot of dedication and clearly no life outside of the internet. Shannon's stalker story doesn't really add up. If someone harasses you for 8+ years, would you logically try to make friends with them after they stop? No. Also, further using said stalker story as an alibi to try to push blame off of herself and onto an imaginary person that just got back to harassing her again during the time of the Lolcow postings just furthers the detachment of reality that Shannon has. She's deleted almost 3 million views, so there had to have been a few dozen incriminating videos she once had on her channel. Also, someone who is truly innocent wouldn't run off the internet without answering any questions. And trying to say they'd handle everything legally, again, just doesn't sound right. Like, you know, I get you want to stop the lies and slander, but if you're running away... Frankly, the only thing that would make sense in legal terms is her going to jail for harassment and possession of CP. Maybe a few more things, but I don't know law that well, so don't quote me. The list, I'm sure, is much longer than what I currently have, as so many more people are coming out with their own stories of their terrible experiences with Shannon. Even now, there is still more and more evidence that's emerging that further drives the point home that Shannon is the worst. Also, if you still don't think Shannon did it, maybe this will wake you up a bit.
You have a confession to make. I am essentially Neve from Catfish, with how fucking good I am at online stalking. Like, I'm amazing at it, guys. You have no idea.
Now, before we get into my opinion on this whole dumpster fire, I want to go over some of the roaches we still have to finish, some of which have been acting like the bug version and not the small piece of love you still have left over from your last smoke session, and some of which are just new little pieces of information I want to address. So let's get into that. Does anyone remember Miss Katie? Yeah, she's been trying to worm her way into this mess at the end of it, and of course, it should be addressed. So as of the past couple of weeks or so, she's been all over her socials cashing into this drama, but of course in ways only Lady Katie could, by trying to compare her interactions with Shannon in the same league as Emily. Very disingenuous to say the least, and also trying to wash away the sins she committed by using the reason Shannon is a bad person, so what she said about me isn't valid. Like I said earlier, two people can be bad at the same time, so you can't just use someone's fuck up as your signal to pass go and collect 200. You both stay in jail. Y'all just have different sentences. Rapsion has a spot in this section because of how he responded to fans of his and others to address his feelings on this, since he was an acquaintance of Shannon's, or at least because he knew more than we did in some way. There's nothing wrong with saying that you don't want to talk about something. You shouldn't be forced to talk about it if you don't want to. If it bothers you to go into detail, just say no. But you don't have to be a dick about it. Like, it doesn't take much effort to not be an asshole. Also, I missed the Discord messages of Shannon talking about her sibling, and if you really want to learn about them, then I suggest Kai's video on it. But essentially, it all boils down to Shannon constantly shit-talking about her sibling on Discord, and all I can say is,
stop it. Get some help.
And finally, there has been some buzz about a person going by the name of Odessa Franklin Boutwell. This person has been blowing up recently as they created and deleted a podcast talking about Shannon, mainly defending her, which is a little etch-a-sketchy as fuck considering Shannon loves to make multiple accounts, trying to make it seem like a random person. I've heard the voice comparisons, and I gotta say, it sounds a lot like her if she tried to use some sort of voice filter.
I am not Shannon. I've also been called Jeremy, but that's a whole nother situation. I'm not Jeremy, I'm not Shannon, I'm not Jennifer.
Eric basically came back to the internet and said everything was fake, said the text messages and screenshots shouldn't be believed.
Situation.
But it's just speculation, and of course we won't really know for sure until the truth finally comes out, if it ever does. Alright, moving on. The next part of this is going to be quite based, as now we're going to get into my opinion on this whole situation. And unsurprisingly, it's not looking good for Shannon. As many have said before me, I used to like Shannon. I was a fan, and I followed her content so closely as I thought she was a genuine and honest person. I don't remember when I first found her channel, but I'm pretty sure it was before the Rewired Soul mess. Her content at the time was fun to listen to and intriguing. Over time, however, I started to feel like something wasn't right. Her content morphed into, fuck the facts, my feelings are more important, instead of the other way around, and you should know what my gripes are when it comes to being a commentator. There's nothing wrong with passion, except for when it's misplaced, or misused, I guess. This is now where I give a message to Shannon herself. I highly doubt you'll ever watch this, but you have done some really disgusting stuff, and I don't understand how you could sleep at night knowing full well how much pain you caused to not only Emily, but to everyone who was unfortunate to know you and call you a friend. How could you spend so much time and effort to create some sort of fake identity to use as a mask to hide what you truly are? Why go after someone for so long? What could you have possibly hoped to gain in doing all of this? It's really hard for me to try not to sharpen my tongue, especially with all you've done, and I certainly don't know if I could find it in my heart to ever forgive you. But I'll say that you really need some help. You clearly suffer from some deep-rooted issues that you definitely have not dealt with correctly. I hope you take that good look in the mirror to see the hideous monster you have become. To still give you some sort of benefit of the doubt, it's probably not too late for you to try to fix at least a little bit of the mess that you created. That's gonna take a lot of hard work, and as much work you put into doing so much damage to yourself and anyone you knew, it's gonna take double that to try to recover probably not even half of what you lost. But at the end of the day, that's up to you. You even said it yourself at one point, your career died by how you lived.
You're a fucking idiot.
Also, it really sucks that you ruined being nice in a way, because, you know, sending gifts, being vulnerable, and sharing personal things with others may not seem as genuine as it probably is. It's instances like this that cause people to close up, go cold, or become hostile because of the feeling of betrayal or misplaced trust. This may sound exaggerated, but some people do close up, or even the latter, after something like this would happen to them because of the feeling of being lied to by someone you trusted at one point can have the potential to really hurt someone in ways unimaginable. After everything is said and done, there's no way Shannon could really come back to the internet. Definitely not as Creepshow art, and it'd be impossible to return as herself, considering how much dirt she threw on her name from all of her actions over these years. I'm not sure if the phrase "you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain" work here, only because it seems Creepshow honestly was the villain all along. Either way, I've reached my verdict.
This little rat is guilty!
5 a.m. just to go to work instead of staying in bed, and I scream at the top of my lungs.
This situation was and still is a mess, and because of that, this video was definitely a lot of work. There was so much stuff popping up and I wanted to make sure I had as much right as I could. I apologize if I missed anything or gotten anything wrong, even still, but of course, I want to know what your thoughts are on all of this. Do you believe there's a way for Shannon to come back? Are you convinced that Shannon was behind all this, or do you think Amy is real? Were you even surprised by her actions? Let me know in the comments below. Aside from all this mess, I hope you've all been well since I've been gone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until the next one, which hopefully wouldn't be too long from this one, I'll see you then. Stay high and on cloud 9, my friends and fluffs. Bye!